friends, thanks so much for tuning in with Embodied Astrology. My name is Renee. I'm a consulting astrologer and embodiment educator. And every month I offer astrologically guided readings that help connect you with your mind-body intelligence and energetic intuition. In this very special Aquarius season episode, we're going to tune in with 2025 and get some channeled messages specific to each of the 12 zodiac signs. So make sure to listen to the recording for your sun, rising, and moon signs. And if these readings speak to you, make sure to check out the extended readings for each sign in 2025. They include an additional 2+ hours of in-depth exploration for navigating this year's most important transits, retrogrades, and eclipses. Additionally, if you are an Aquarius sun, moon, or rising, or if you know how to work through the themes of each house in your chart and you know where Aquarius is for you, make sure to listen in on the Aquarius reading for an extra special edition with some important themes for Aquarius season. In 2025, that's January 19th through February 18th. If my readings resonate for you, let me know by clicking the thumbs up and tell me what lands in the comment section. Make sure to subscribe and stay updated with my monthly readings and astro-inspired movement and meditation practices. The best way to show your support and stay connected is to sign up for the Embodied Astrology newsletter, drop into a weekly or monthly Embodied Astrology class, or sign up for a monthly membership. You can find more information on everything in the show notes or at embodiedastrology.com. All right, let's get into your channeled readings for 2025. All right, Capricorn, so I am getting that issues of security and stability are coming through really strongly. And when it comes to security and stability, these are important areas of focus for Capricorn as an energy. You probably know that your sign is said to be a sign that really enjoys security and stability. But the fact of the matter is that we live here on planet Earth, and Earth is always moving and changing, and our sense as human beings of security and stability is very fragile. And so there are ways that the search and the attachment to feelings of security and stability can be quite fraught. But they can also be something that we can really play with. And the fraught sensation comes through when there is a really deep attachment to what we think will make us feel safe, secure, and stable. And certainly when there's an attachment to what we think we own about it, which can create a lot of isolation, mistrust with other people, and stagnancy in our own lives. However, when there's a recognition that what we might call security or stability, which are basically sensations that we get when we feel that our needs are met and going to be met, and we can kind of plan and predict for things. When we recognize that those needs and desires are very much a common experience for human beings, and that when we work together in collaboration and mutuality and reciprocity, the experiences of security and stability and safety greatly expand and become a lot more abundant and accessible for a lot more people, then these issues get to be actually a lot more playful. And you've probably heard the saying that many hands make light work. And if you want to go far, go together, right? If you want to go fast, go alone, but traveling fast can often end up with accidents. So if you want to go far, go together. These are what I'm really feeling as major themes coming through for Capricorn at this time. Your focus and orientation ultimately needs to be about relationship and collectivity or collectivism in some ways. And at this time in 2025, you are amidst the human experience where there is a lot of divisiveness. There are a lot of streams of misinformation and disinformation and intentional manipulation of our minds and perspectives that tend to shape people into dynamics with one another that are quite harmful and confusing. But there is also a lot of agitation, frustration, and feelings of being done that people are having with those kinds of conditions. And so there is a somewhat chaotic element to 2025 and 2026 that feel like a huge amount of opportunity and potentiality. I've been referring to these years as bridge years in all of the readings so far. And the idea of being on a bridge is that we are crossing and making a potentially treacherous crossing. I don't know if you've ever been on a bridge that, goes across a canyon or something like that. And you look down and it's like, oh my gosh, we're really high up here. And wow, this is precarious, but also kind of thrilling. That's the vibe that 2025 is giving for me. And so when I'm tuning in with these influences in the zodiac sign charts, I really am having a lot of a feeling of this is a bridge that all of us are on right now collectively. And the bridge is between one world and another, one dream and another. And the old world or the old dream is ending. It has been ending for some time. The feelings and the experiences of something ending bring a lot of fear. They bring a lot of precarity. They bring a lot of grief. There's a lot of confusion. There are feelings of disappointment and disenchantment and disenfranchisement that are very strong. And something is on the other side. And we don't yet know what is on the other side. It is for us to create. And we will be creating it together. And with 9 billion people or so on planet Earth, and all of us also very much a part of our environments, and so much change happening in the environment and in our collectives and in the life forms that are more than human. There just is a lot that's happening and everybody's influencing each other. So it does feel like a time to be creative and courageous and willing to do the work of relationship building. And this is a huge and important theme in the Capricorn charts for 2025, building relationships. Community is a buzzword. A lot of people are talking about community, but what does that actually mean and what does it require? And the work of building community is not glamorous. It's actually kind of gnarly. You have to get up in there with your own psychology and other people's. Everybody's got their baggage. Everyone has their own ways of perceiving and believing and behaving. And then we're going to meet somewhere. And in the meeting, there's friction. There is a lot of potential for conflict. And in the heat and in the potential for conflict, there is also passion. And fire or heat or friction is the creative stuff. Actually, that's what life comes from. It comes from difference rubbing up against each other and creating something new. So there's a challenge for any of us, for all of us in our human forms who want security and stability, because there's just not a lot of that, especially as we encounter difference and especially as we encounter the creative force, which is inherently chaotic. And yet that's what we have to do. And your charts are asking you to dive in there, Capricorn. This is an opportunity in 2025 and 2026 to build a bridge that you then get to cross, hopefully with a crew and connections that you really feel trusting with and can rely on to build with. And so in the need to build together so that we can cross a bridge and get somewhere and then create together once we're there, there is also a need for you to trust in your capacities and find your strength and get anchored and centered and strong in new and different ways. There is a real need for you to know who you are and what you stand for. And that feels qualitative, not intellectual. Feels qualitative, not conceptual. And so when I say know who you are and know what you stand for, I am feeling that this is a feeling that comes through for you, that this is a way that you know yourself internally, energetically, and through sensation and remembering. But it is not the same as your concepts of who you are. And your concepts of who you are, your ego, your identity, all of the things that you have done and haven't done, in a lot of ways don't matter that much right now, because you are being asked to have a beginner's mind in some ways. And so while we need you to know who you are, and we need you to actually really put your skills to use and be able to access them and trust yourself and fall upon also your training as a Capricorn, which has a lot to teach everybody about resilience, emotional fortitude, being able to clearly define and then move towards goals. You are also not going to be the only person in the driver's seat. And that is really important, because your future needs you to also be able to step back and relax and trust that other people can also take the lead. And this is not always easy for a lot of signs. And Capricorn is one of the signs that can sometimes have a hard time with that, especially when you have not had proof of someone else's competence, or when you have had proof of their incompetence, or that you've perceived their incompetence. And you need to let yourself be surprised right now by what can happen when other people have the conditions and the support to move forward into leadership and decision making. And so part of what a lot of you are doing right now is remembering how to work behind the scenes and knowing that there are ways that you can help fortify and strengthen larger collective or communal efforts, and efforts that you have a lot of personal investment and stake in, but in ways where you are not being domineering, hierarchical, dictatorial, where you don't actually have the full map, and you are empowering and supporting others to rise with you and to do the work with you and to figure it out with you. And that means that sometimes you have to allow for a willingness in your own body mind to trust other people before they have proved themselves to you, or before they have earned your trust. And maybe even sometimes when you felt disappointed by them, or when you have a judgment or idea about who they are and what they can or cannot do. And so this year then is also asking you to really do some inquiry and internal investigation into your own psychology, into your own attachments and your fears and your phobias, and what happens for you when you have a really strong desire for something to happen. And when that desire needs other people to be part of it, and when other people are doing the thing that other people do, which is different than you, there's some stuff that is going to come up in your attachment system in 2025 that is ready for you to be working with it and working with it in new ways. And this is going to involve you cultivating and developing a better sense of humor. I know Capricorns, you are some of the funniest and most humorous people out there. And I'm not joking. I'm saying that for real. Capricorns have excellent sense of humor. I really enjoy my Capricorn friends because there is such a capacity for finding humor in the ridiculousness and absurdity of life. And we really need that right now. We need to be able to laugh together. We need to be able to joke together. And we need to be able to also be a little irreverent together sometimes, because some of the stuckness that comes up between people and in relationships comes up because everybody's feeling really super, super precious about something and maybe at times overly sensitive, or sensitive about things that not everybody is sensitive towards. And then there will be hurt feelings and there will be toes that get stomped by other people's heels. And if everything is taken as a personal attack, and if everything really needs a very careful examination all the time, for a lot of Capricorns, this starts to feel very tedious. And this is where your sense of humor and your capacity for caring irreverence is how I'm going to put it. And this feels like your objectivity. Sometimes it feels like your life story. Many, big 3 Capricorn placements have life stories where you didn't have somebody there coddling you every single moment. And that means that when there's that kind of energy around you, you got to let people sometimes figure it out for themselves. But that doesn't mean abandoning. And it doesn't mean degrading or making fun of or belittling. And there is a interesting kind of edge between what is caring and supportive and what is, I'm going to say, like coddling or stifling. And then on the other end, what is abandoning or ignoring. And so you don't need to go to either end of the spectrum right now. You are looking for that middle path where you can be supportive in ways that also help the people around you rise to the occasion of their potential best. And that then helps you stay in your own lane and do your best around things. And right now, your lane is somewhere in the middle, and you have to keep a view on what others are doing. And you actually want to have a caravan. And so in your lane, you're thinking about who's behind you and who's in front of you and who's around you. But you also want to be able to stay focused and steady with your intentionality. And so the ways that you work inside of relationship to help yourself and help others figure out where to fit in with the strengths and the challenges that everybody has, and when and where and how to support and move towards, but also when and where and how to step back and let the consequences come in or let the learning happen is going to be part of your growth and dance in 2025. This is a year that is going to keep you busy, Capricorn. And in order for you to maintain your wellness, and I mean your mental, emotional, physical, relational wellness, you have to be working really skillfully with your mind and organizing yourself in ways that can help you when distraction and preoccupation come up, which they will. There are a lot of details coming in that need to be attended to. And there will be times that those details feel absolutely chaotic and where there is no organization possible in any given moment, where the only thing that is possible is for you to find some calm in the center of the storm and work with yourself in the ways that you can while the storm kind of rages around you and blows around you. And when you can locate calm in the center of the storm, this feels like you are able to also be more relational. And so your affect on others, your emotional and energetic transmission, the ways that others get a vibe off you, is definitely a growing learning edge for you right now. And I think a lot of you are recognizing the power of your influence, that how you are is really impacting for anybody who's around you and everybody that might be working with you, and especially anybody that you're trying to build something with that is going to be somewhat sustainable and provide some amount of security or stability for you and for others. And so your presence has a huge amount of impact. You being clear and able to calm yourself in the center of the storm might be the thing that allows for whatever it is that you're trying to build and whomever you're trying to build with to find coherence. Whereas the ways that you might internalize chaos or allow your mind to run away like minds love to do, and hijack your body like minds love to do, and stimulate a whole lot of challenging emotion or emotions that move in a lot of different directions like minds love to do. If you let your mind do that, then you run the risk a little bit of things falling apart or taking longer to find their coherence or not really getting organized in the ways that they need to. And so one of your biggest challenges in 2025 is your mind and working skillfully with your mind. And in order for Capricorn to work skillfully with the mind, you have to also be able to work skillfully with your feelings and your sensitivity and your intuition. And if you're familiar with the archetype of Capricorn as the sea goat, right? A front body that's a goat and a rear body that's a fish. This is a hybrid mythic creature that doesn't really make any sense. You need to be in the ocean and climbing the mountains. And in the current era and paradigm, Capricorn's energy has been collectively imagined in ways that really emphasize the goat nature of Capricorn, which is earthy and building and ascending and ambitious and sometimes totally nuts. I mean, have you seen these goats that climb up onto these ridiculous mountain faces where there's not even a centimeter of a foothold, and they're out there with all their little baby goats munching away on like nothing, like on these little sprigs of grass that are growing out of the cracks of a sheer granite wall? Y'all are nutso, Capricorns, but somehow incredibly skillful. And our current paradigm really takes advantage of this capacity that you have to do things that are wildly ambitious and oftentimes successful, even though for most folks we're like, how would you even do that? How would you climb that mountain? Look, there's a whole field down here you could eat of. Why do you need that little sprig of grass way up there? Just eat this bush, right? But Capricorns are like, nah, I'm gonna go to that place. And then you do. And this is amazing about Capricorn. This is really such an inspiring and motivating and important part of your energy. But our current paradigm in modernity, in late stage capitalism, totally takes advantage of those capacities that you have and creates conditions that asks everybody to overwork their Capricorn parts and not take care of their oceanic, fishy parts. And these are the parts that are deeply imaginative and that rest back into the ocean and that move in flowing kind of ways and in soft kind of ways, and that are inherently tied to the waters of creation. And not all Capricorns out there have forgotten this part of themselves. And probably if you're tuning in with this reading, you're a Capricorn that definitely has some access to your intuition and imagination and mysticism. And I'm going to say that you really need that right now. you really need to be able to feel your feelings and be watery about them. And that means that sometimes you have to cry, you have to be a mess about it, you've got to get confused with all the rest of us and then go take a nap. And Capricorn, your imagination and intuition also really need your attention. It's not all about the logistics and the planning and the how-to and the let's get organized and the come on, it's time to go. That is an important part of what's happening right now. We definitely need people taking leadership in those ways, and a lot of y'all are really good at that. But if you're not there with your relationality and softness and sensing and imagination, and if you're not getting enough rest and dream time, then the ways that you are coming through with these more earth plane orientations run the risk of getting overworked. They can become really rigid, dogmatic, and domineering, and that can have negative influence in your relationships. And we know that relationships are extremely important. They are essential for you right now to get to where you want to go. And so your ability to be squishy and fishy sometimes, to like let it go and to soften and come back to the ocean, will help you do the things that you need to do in 2025. So don't forget to rest, to dream, to imagine, and to help yourself soften and be receptive, because this is absolutely essential in your relationships, and relationships are your priority in 2025. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there in terms of the just kind of channeled messages coming through as I'm letting myself feel into your chart. And we will continue to clarify all of those messages when we get into the third part with the what, the when, and the where of astrology. But now let's allow those messages to take form as a somatic imprint. This is an embodied practice. And I'm going to offer you here a template. So this is a guided awareness exploration that I'm hoping you will adapt, modify, and get creative with. If you have any kind of mind-body practices like meditation or dance or a fitness practice that you have, bring this into those spaces. And also this practice will be something that you can do and apply and remember and work with pretty much anywhere and everywhere. And the more that you do it, the more that you tune in with, oh yeah, that feeling or this image or this phrase, while you're on your way to a meeting or sitting down and trying to figure out your homework or talking to your family member, this energetic imprint is meant to support you, especially right now. So the more that you do it, the more it can support you. So my homework to you, my challenge to you, should you choose to accept it, is to take this and do it in your own way and let your own way continue to evolve and express creatively. Okay, that's what I have for you today. If you enjoyed this reading, it is an excerpt from your 2025 extended year ahead, which includes an additional 2+ hours of in-depth exploration for navigating this year's most important transits, retrogrades, and eclipses. You can purchase that reading and access it today through the link in the show notes below. For anyone who's interested in joining some of Embodied Astrology's live virtual events, we have some upcoming in Aquarius season that you definitely don't want to miss. On January 29th, which is the Aquarius new moon, join Ramon Parrish and me for a members-only event where we'll be looking at Pluto's recent entry into Aquarius and what this means for the next 20 years. On February 9th, the author, artist, and intuitive Janata Petrus is holding her monthly full moon artistic alchemy class. Take this opportunity to tune in with the influences and creative guidance of the Leo full moon. Finally, on February 15th, Sherry Taylor and Ari Felix will be leading a workshop on Saturn and Pisces and astrology for world building. You can also find me every Monday in Somatic Space, where we work with the astrology of the week ahead as guidance for gentle and healing movement and meditation practices. All of our events are available by recording if you can't attend live. We offer tiered pricing and scholarships to everything, including memberships, and no one is ever turned away for lack of funds. Find more information in the show notes or at embodiedastrology.com.